Good morning, Lubbock and West Texas. Welcome to the program this morning, 7:06 a.m. 75 degrees outside right now as the sun is rising. Nice view from downtown Lubbock. We're live from the Raymar Communication Compound. Going to be another hot one today, 101 degrees. I guess we're just stuck with this this heat until we're not, right? So most of Texas dealing with that. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Phone lines are open this morning. Text line is open. If you have an issue, question, comment for our guest in the studio this morning, newly elected Councilman Tim Green. Good morning.
Good morning.
806-771-0923 is the number, 806-771-0923. Councilman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So you were sworn in, what about 3 weeks ago? Are you getting acclimated?
Yep, a couple of weeks ago, I am. Normally you wouldn't be sworn in right during the budget season. And
right.
So, very rarely do we have an election in August. Yeah. And we had this election in August. And so, I got, I went to the budget sessions, the priority sessions back in July.
Notice that.
And I listened in on those. Of course, I didn't have a seat at the table. Mm-hmm. So, but I knew when I got in that, I'd be hitting the ground running.
Right.
So I really tried to prepare myself. I studied the budget, last year's budget, at nights after I walked blocks all day.
Yeah. Wow.
Things like that, So I was really trying to prepare myself to hit the ground running when I got here.
Any surprises so far?
No. Well, yeah. And I knew this was coming, but, running a business is different than running a government.
Sure.
And the way things are done, it's just, it's too bad that we have to run the way we run things in city government because of the laws. Right. And they are to protect the citizens, like the Open Meetings Act.
Right.
Open Meetings Act has kind of got me where, I'm not used to doing business this way. I can't go talk. We can't have what they call a walking quorum.
Right.
So I can't go talk to 2 or 3 of the other council members about ideas and direction that we want to move forward with the city unless it's on the dais.
Right.
And so I've got to be real careful about that because I'm not used to that. And it's just such an ineffective way to conduct a business.
Interesting how that little thing like the law can get in the way.
That's right.
Sometimes. In terms of you, like you said, hit the ground running. You guys are knee deep in budget meetings. During the campaign, I recall you, obviously public safety, number one. And you said you had attended budget meetings before you were sworn in.
Right.
What have you learned about the budget that you didn't know 2 months ago?
Well, not a whole lot because like I said, I was studying it I've been studying last year's budget for 3 or 4 months.
Right.
So just plugging in the new numbers. We didn't get the new numbers until
there you go,
like the 3 days before the first meeting. Mm-hmm. And so when we got the new numbers, then we had to start looking at the new numbers. And we talked about the no new revenue rate and the what things are called, and I kind of made fun of the no new revenue rate.
I remember here on the program.
Yeah, on the program.
We make news after you said that. I don't know if
we did.
If you noticed?
I heard that many times after that it's a made up, that I called it a made up term that that a bunch of politicians, and I still believe that because it's just, they name things. The politicians name things like truth in taxation,
like a handle.
Yeah, so they do, and to make it sound much, much better, or, I don't know, the big new deal, the great new deal, big new deal. And things like that. And Congress names things that really sometimes they're not what they are or whatever, but there's no new revenue rate, and I get it. it's to set a point that hey, if you don't increase the tax rate, this is what the no new revenue rate will be. If you don't take you just taking in last year's, not including the appraisal creep,
right?
And so that's what that takes in, and it may, so it's a just, I kind of made fun of the word.
Well, really. and it doesn't take into consideration things like inflation.
It doesn't take, and that's kind of ridiculous. And and at the time I said, because property values always go up, then the no new revenue rate will always go down. Well, I was wrong. Because our property values actually went down.
On average?
On average, the adjusted property values went down this year.
Yeah.
It's a very odd deal.
Interesting.
And so the no new revenue rate went up. Isn't that weird?
Because you had to take in, it works both ways.
It works both ways. And so the no new revenue, or our property valuations went down because of extra exemptions. Businesses, the business personal property exemption went from $2,500 to $125,000. So that means small businesses like my own and other small businesses give this huge tax break. We were paying, on our computers and our trucks, on our all the personal property that it takes to run a business.
Right.
We pay taxes on as small business owners, and so we got that. Now we have that exemption. Mm-hmm. Well, that exemption means when somebody gets an exemption, that means you spread the tax dollar out to the people who don't get exemptions.
Right.
It's not that we, good, they pay less. Well, where are we going to get it from? Now we got to get it from everybody else that didn't get an exemption.
Right. Interesting. Back up just a little bit. Your opponent, you defeated Gary Bourne by like 21 points.
Yeah.
What do you think resonated during the campaign?
So, I really think my message of growth and bringing in new revenue resonated with everybody. There's a lot of people that don't believe in that, but it is true. It is a fact that if we increase our growth and do it in the right way, then it spreads the tax base out. Spreads the tax base out, and so I think everybody understands, or most people understand that. Yeah. And so that's the main thing that I think that resonated with everybody. And I just had to get the message out. I was unknown. I never have run for office, and I really wasn't involved a whole lot in committees and that kind of thing on the city. Commissions and that, all that.
Well, something resonated for sure. You had the support of the firefighters, and now we're in the middle of this meet and confer agreement. Yeah. Have you seen the agreement?
I have. We haven't got every detail. So meet and confer, just for people that don't know, please. It's kind of like collective bargaining, but in a better way. And so as council members, we don't participate at all. We don't get all the details. We only get told what the
terms are.
What the terms are. Period.
That falls on the city manager?
That falls on the city manager. So the city manager has been meeting with the Firefighters Association and then again for the Police Association. Right. And everybody that has a stake in that. I assume the chiefs and that kind of thing. Right. But it's we get the final verdict, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about the specifics of the agreement. There's a lot at stake with this agreement in terms of the hours they're going to work, the pay. We talked about inflation and how we're going to keep staffing up for public safety purposes. We'll talk about that on the other side here. 7:16 a.m. If you have a question or a comment for Councilman Green, 806-771-0923. We'll be back with more with Councilman Green right after this. You're listening to the Wake Up Call. Happy, what is it today? Wednesday? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thursday. Gosh, I get them confused. We're on every day, Tim.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning, Lubbock, Texas. Welcome back to the program. You're listening to the Wake Up Call, 7:20 a.m. Thanks for joining us this morning on this, I used to call it Food for Thought Thursday. I would call it the same now, but for different reasons. When I used to produce that restaurant report card segment on KCBD. So happy Food for Thought Thursday, everybody. Visiting with Lubbock City Councilman Tim Green, jumping right in the middle of it after being sworn in about 3 weeks ago. Have you been able to even come up for air?
Not really, and I've got a couple of businesses that I've got to run too.
Sure.
Of my own. And so, no, I'm, 16 hours a day working on stuff. And so, and I know it'll slow down a little bit after the budget's over.
Sounds like one of Brennan's days.
Yeah.
So it should slow down, but some important decisions at stake here, not the least of which is, the property tax rate. You, Tim, you ran partly on finding new revenue streams.
That's right. Yeah.
Where are there opportunities there?
So yeah, and I haven't been able to really get down and work on that because I'm now right now what I call offense and defense. We're playing defense right now,
right?
Because we're working on the budget, going through expenses, trying to figure that out. I want to get to working on offense, and so bringing in new revenue streams and that kind of thing is offense. So I relate everything. I like to use sports analogies.
Sure. Brennan will love that.
Yeah. And so, as far as bringing in new revenue, speaking of sports, youth sports is a $40 billion industry, and we are not taking advantage of it. By the way, we're going to get, Lita is going to put in 16 softball fields, turf softball fields out at Tom Martin Complex out there. And that will...
That's like far southwest Lubbock.
Far southwest Lubbock, yeah. So those turf fields, whether it rains, whatever, they're going to be turf. And it's expensive. But the revenue that we're going to be able to generate off of, we're going to have some great softball tournaments.
Right.
Softball is starting to be big, especially in Lubbock, Texas, when you've got national championship caliber team.
Yeah.
Those little girls, they go to those games and they love those girls. And now, and for that matter, girls youth sports, the travel, what we call travel teams.
Right.
That is just blown up.
Yeah.
And so if we can get everybody coming into Lubbock as opposed to going to Dallas or Midland or Amarillo, Midland's got some great fields. They've got some oil money that they've put a lot of money into youth sports complexes. But the average person that has a kid in team sports pays $15,000 a year in that. So
that sounds low.
Yeah.
I haven't had one go through all that.
I know. I had one too. And so we can bring in all kinds of people. John Osborne told me we bring in 19,000 people a day on average, 7.1 million, I think, this last year. Visitors.
Interesting.
And so what if we can bring in 40, and they're staying in our hotels, they're eating at our restaurants and spending money, sales tax revenue. That's where all of our sales tax revenue comes from. And so, I'm going to be a big proponent of youth sports and try to see what we can do there. And
sales tax was up year over year so far.
Yeah, it was a terrible year last year, and then this year's much better. And that's a good thing.
So you said you just seem to make news when you come on here. I hadn't heard that yet. That Lita's going to pay for turf fields at the Tom Martin softball.
Yeah, I think it's and I don't get me. I may be wrong. It's maybe Market Lubbock
Well,
or Lita.
yeah,
and they're two different entities.
Sure.
And so don't quote me on that. I can't remember which one. Sometimes, and John runs both of them. So
one's a 4A, one's a 501c3.
Yeah.
Perhaps it has to do with what they can spend the money on.
That's exactly right. And how they get funded.
Yeah.
So Lita is funded by tax, sales tax, 1/8 cent. And then Market Lubbock comes out of the general fund.
Which is property taxes.
Yeah, property taxes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. Did they give a time frame? I have to look that up. Talking about the softball field.
There is a time frame. I don't know when. It's going to be like $8 million.
Yeah.
But it'll bring in a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other sports that we can bring in.
Sure.
That we can bring in revenue. So that's one of my ideas. And the other thing is, having an annexation plan. And I know it's very, very hard to annex. And here we go.
Right.
People say, oh, well, we don't, we need to do it in a very smart way.
Yeah.
And bring in more property tax to the city.
Because that's
Growing.
It's not, you're not just taking in more property tax with annexation. You're having to spend money for services.
That's right. Yeah. So infrastructure brings growth. Growth pays back the citizens that are putting in the infrastructure. That was my whole thing. Some people don't believe it. It's a fact, and I've got stuff to back it up.
Sure.
And you can just look at Wichita Falls. Wichita Falls doesn't grow. They never have. They've got the highest property tax rate in the state, just about. So
interesting. A lot has happened since you were last on the program during the campaign. We've watched this evolution of I don't know if public perception has evolved, but certainly positions from elected officials have evolved in terms of data centers. We saw the governor early on saying, we want all that data centers here. We're going to take advantage of this economic development, this and that. And then he slowly moves back towards the middle with, we got to protect rural West Texas. What have you, do you feel like we have enough information out there to make a decision on data centers right now?
I think there is, and each one of them they're all different. And the governor is a really good politician. And I'm not. So, so I'm gonna say, I always just say what I think and what I believe. I think we do. There's so much. Obviously we know there's so much misinformation, disinformation, propaganda, fear, just fear mongering, and it's coming from foreign government. A lot of it's coming from foreign governments. But then our people here believe it, and then they start spreading it, and it really ticks me off to an extent that there's people that are fear mongering my 85-year-old constituents because when I went door to door, knocking door to door, and that kind of thing, people were legitimately fearful,
right?
And it just makes me angry. I said, listen, most of what you're saying is not true. They're the ways that they've come up with, those data centers, those people, they're smart. They had to figure out real quick how to not use all of the water and how to use their own electricity and how to control noise. There's all kinds of things that they can do now to control noise and light and, all the environmental factors. That's one of the things that I don't know exactly a lot about yet that I think that's still out there that we could learn more is what effect on the environment itself. The resources, I think we can pinpoint down exactly gallons of water,
I think we're there on that.
We're there on that, and electricity and all that.
Yeah.
But the environment, that takes 20, 30 years,
Sure.
We don't know that yet.
Not a subject that's going away.
No.
Anytime soon. We'll talk more about that and more with Councilman Tim Green right after the break. 7:29 a.m. Happy Thursday, everybody. Good morning.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning, Lubbock. Good morning, West Texas. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. It's August the 20th, 2026, 7:37 a.m. 76 degrees outside right now, as you heard Steve Devine say, on our way to a hot 101, maybe 102 carbon copy of what, at least on the heat side, what we saw yesterday. Phone and text lines are open this morning, 806-771-0923. We mentioned earlier, and now visiting with Councilman Tim Green, the Red Raider Luncheon. Are you attending?
Yes, I am.
Very good. The Red Raider Lunch to kick off. This is kind of the official, wow, football is upon us.
I'm ready, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, same here.
I eat it up.
Yeah. So we'll attend that. A little history. The Texas Tech Club kickoff luncheon, one of Tech's longstanding preseason traditions. It is, like I said, one of the kind of the unofficial kickoff. since its inception, back around 2010, 1,800 fans to the Lubbock Memorial Civic Center. How many folks can that Civic Center hold? I think I know the answer based on that data center public hearing.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the number, Brennan? How many people in the banquet hall can fit?
Ooh, I do not know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. But it's grown since then. But today at noon, over there at the Civic Center, the Red Raider luncheon there. Okay, back to city business. We were talking about the budget data centers, and now we have this petition for an 18-month moratorium. I mean, is it possible it could take us 18 months to make a decision anyway?
Yeah. And, excuse me, I really don't think any hyperscale data center is going to be looking at municipality. Why would they want to be in the city? There's no reason for them. That's why they're always in the rural areas, because they have no regulation out there. Mm-hmm. So there's really no reason for a hyperscale type data center. Now, the little ones, we have several little ones in Lubbock already. Mm-hmm. And so they'll come in and that kind of thing. But the city's doing a good job right now of working on the special use restrictions. Mm-hmm. They're working real hard on behind the scenes right now at the building department.
Right. So we mentioned this earlier, but you've been in there. I mean, I say you sworn in a couple weeks ago, but I mean, you've been attending meetings, you've been going to budget workshops. Right now, how much of your day right now is city business outside of your private businesses?
Oh, I'd say at least half the day. And when I say half the day, 8 hours, because I've been working 16 hours a day, seems like, meetings, events, and just things like that, trying to, doing a lot more, than I used to be, because I need to be out in the public and knowing what's going on and going to certain different events that I don't normally attend and that kind of thing.
Right. In addition to getting your head around just the numbers.
Yes.
Of all of it. Do you feel good about where we're headed in terms of budgeting? And I know you guys haven't made a decision, and we certainly don't want folks voting from anywhere other than the dais. But
no. I mean, I'm very disappointed on the revenue numbers, and like I said, the no new revenue rate went up. It went up above what our adopted rate was last year. Our adopted rate was 47.2, and the no new revenue rate was 46. Mm-hmm. And now the no new revenue rate has jumped up to 47.5. So if we did the no new revenue rate, which is very low, it's already it's a tax increase. Right. That's insane.
Who would have thought no new revenue rate and tax increase would be used in the same sentence?
And it's sad. I hate that.
How short are we from what you think needs to be put in there for revenue?
About $12 million, I think.
And
somewhere in
did
there.
sales tax?
Sales tax came up. It helped a little bit. We just got a new sales tax number. We're at 106 point something now, 106 million, which we had budgeted for 103 for last year. So we're above 3 million of projected.
Okay.
And so that helps. But again, we're down on property tax.
Yeah.
And
I know you weren't part of this official discussion. Oh, you weren't officially a part of this discussion, I guess is how better said. But I'm curious what you know and your opinion about kicking the can down the road on going to the voters to increase the hotel motel tax to help partly fund the proposed civic center renovations.
yeah, I need to. That's something that, again, I haven't wrapped my head around completely. I've really got to dig down deep into those numbers without. I just can't have a really good opinion right now.
You were at the meeting. Did you like the plan?
Yeah, I like the plan real well, and it's needed. I just need to see the numbers now.
Sure.
I need to put all those numbers together. What is it really going to cost? Is it going to cost citizens anything? Is it just hotel motel?
Right.
Tax. But absolutely needed. And downtown, I'm a big proponent of a vibrant downtown.
Right. We have that special designation,
PFC,
which
Z, yep.
PFZ, which I understand is the state has to allow that, and Lubbock may be the last one to ever be allowed to collect money for specific use like that. Do we lose that money? I guess we have to. At what point would that money be designated for downtown, and are we just missing out until we pull the trigger?
I think so. Yeah, I think once we pull the trigger, but we will. We'll designate a point, and I think it's a 3 mile zone.
Yes.
Or one.
Yeah.
PIDs are one of them's one of them's another. So anyway, 3 mile zone, and so anything that's in that, all the new revenue that's generated off of anything that's built after we drop the pin.
Got it.
Then we get back, and it's like 2 cents. Again, I need to wrap my head around all the numbers and see and get a projection of what those numbers are going to look like in the future, so that we can figure out, okay, if we're going to spend $50 million or whatever, $70 million on a
Renovations.
Yeah.
Did we have a question on the text line, Brendan? Will you
Yes, we did.
unpack that for us?
Yes, so this text says, "Good morning, Councilman. Do you believe we, being Lubbock, have a homeless problem? If yes, does the city have a plan to control it?"
Yeah.
Coming from all directions.
It is, yeah. And I haven't, again, this is one of the things I haven't wrapped my head around completely yet, because we've got the budget going on. But yes, we do. Just like every city in America, every city has a homeless problem. They all have homeless. And ours is not gigantic compared to other cities. I can't remember the numbers. I think it's 300 to 400, 500, something like that.
Yeah.
And so we do have a plan in place. I just haven't really wrapped my brain around what a plan is and how to go forward. But yes, we have a problem, and we need to continue to work on that.
So we'll give him a pass on that one. Maybe you'll come back after you figure out the homeless problem
sounds
in
good.
Lubbock. When we return, I want to ask you about growth, specifically infrastructure. Your thoughts on some of that now that you're in there, charged with, I'll say, growing smart in Lubbock, Texas. More with Councilman Tim Green. After the break, 7:46 a.m. We'll be back.
Wake Up Call with Benji Snead continues on 92.3 The Hub, the voice for freedom.
Good morning. Welcome back to the program. Welcome to the program if you're just joining us on this Thursday, August the 20th, 2026. Benji Snead here along with producer Brendan Riker. And our guest in the studio this morning, newly elected Councilman Tim Green. we were talking during the break. You said something interesting. I mean, it's kind of coming from all directions for you right now. But do you? That's why I waited to have you, because I thought, you know what, let's give him a chance to get his other foot in the door.
Yeah.
But what's your biggest concern other than I mean, we talked about revenue. If we end up somewhere between 3 and 12 million short, like you mentioned, trying to make some of that up, what's at stake?
The protection, that's I think that's what I'm tasked to do. That's first and foremost. And protection means police, fire, and protect your money.
Right.
And protect the citizens' money. Those three things. And so obviously there's a cost to two of them, and there's a savings to, savings are a cost to one. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to balance that out.
Right.
What do the citizens want? And that's who I work for. I work for all the citizens in Lubbock,
right?
Especially the ones in my district, and because that's who I represent. And so I need to know exactly what they want. And, and I've been told, I mean, like I said, I went door to door, knocked on 8,000 doors, and probably talked to over 2,000 people. I knocked on your door.
That's insane. You did. Left me a note.
Yep. And so, and I just have a good feel, I think, of what the people want. And, those are the important things right there, is how I'm going to spend your money. And I've got to do it, a very efficient way, but I've got to give you protection.
Right. Subject that isn't necessarily not as new to you, I would think, is this current infrastructure and road maintenance, road construction model that we have, which now does not include impact fees to folks like builders. I understand you have to recuse in some areas, but
probably so.
Are you comfortable with the current model of having elections to let people say we can issue bonds for that?
Yeah. So and from history, we know for a fact that by not issuing bonds, how bad a trouble we got into.
Yep.
We didn't issue a bond from 2008 to 2022. Yep. We got $600 to $700 million behind. This, I don't know what that is in road miles. So we got that far behind, and finally did a bond in 2022, did a bond in 2024,
right.
And we'll need another one in 2027 or 2028.
A lot of construction right now.
There
in the
is,
city.
and because we just have to play catch up.
Right.
Talking about kicking the can down the road, that's what I don't want to see. You cannot kick the can down the road. We've got to do our part, the here and now, for the future, for our kids and grandkids.
You think bond elections are the way to go?
Yeah, definitely.
I think I recall you saying something to this effect. So we implemented the impact fees back in 2020-ish, raised $12 million over 5 years.
Right.
I think you said you can't spit on a road for $12 million.
You can't. I mean, so I'll give you an example. For those 5 years, we got the $12 million. I think Upland from from Marsh Sharp to 82nd, cost 18 million.
Wow,
I believe. So we got 1 mile for 5 years.
Right.
Or we didn't even get that.
That if you look at Broadway, that tracks.
Yeah.
Because that's 17 million, and that's 0.8. Eighth of a mile.
And Broadway and Upland right there, Upland had all kinds of drainage issues.
Yeah. So
they had to do an extensive drainage plan on if you will drive down that. And then Broadway obviously has its issues. And so, that's not even, Broadway's not even, it goes Avenue E to Q. So go
right.
The 1 mile is going all the way back to Avenue A. So we're not even a mile that, but it's going to be very expensive for Broadway. Most of them aren't that way. I think we can get a full mile, 5 lanes for about 10 to 12. And we should have done this 10 years ago. We should have done Upland 10, 15 years ago.
A lot of catch
and it
up.
would cost half the price. And nope, we wanted lower taxes.
That's another
and
thing
they kicked it down the road for me and you, and you know, and we just can't look at the here and now all the time. Yes, we've got to look at that, but we've also got to prepare for the future and do the right things for the future.
Right.
We're not going to be around in 50 years, probably, or I'm not.
Yeah,
But the city will. My grandkids will. My kids will.
Yeah.
So we've got to. This business of the city of Lubbock is going to be around 100 years from now.
Right.
I mean, we've got to start looking at it that way. We cannot focus on the here and now. And I think that a lot of times the people in power look at things in 2 to 4 year terms. Why is that? Because that's when elections are. And so we can't look at it in, the here and now. We've got to plan for the future also.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with what you've heard so far about our Lubbock's water situation?
Yeah, I'm actually more comfortable than I knew before. Okay. What I know before, with Lake 7 coming on and Cremwa 2 eventually coming on. There's a really, really good plan, and we've got high accolades from the state for what we've done with our water. That's one of the things. And luckily, out of fear. Out of pure fear of running out of water, our council has, over the last 20, 30 years, have done an outstanding job of preparing us for the future, for water. And thank goodness they did. I'm glad they didn't kick that thing down the road.
Yeah, there was certainly some vision back then around early 2000s.
90s, even 90s, when at Lake Allen Henry.
Yeah, so you're comfortable with the water,
and we've got to keep our thumb on it all the time. It changes a lot, but we've got really, really good plan.
How beneficial is it that? And we had him on the program yesterday. We have a gentleman like Senator Charles Perry, who basically is leading the way statewide for how we plan 50, 60, 70 years down the road. Yeah. And he's right here, from right here in Lubbock.
Yeah, it's fantastic having Charles Perry. And then the Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows, here. That's how we got the PFZ zone. I know it is.
No question.
Because the governor didn't want to sign it. In fact, he didn't sign it. It sat on his desk, and by law, it went into law, and he didn't sign it. He refused to sign it because he didn't want to give up those state dollars to a city. And but he wasn't going to cross Mr. Speaker.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, and it's something to be said for because I'm told there'll be no more of that. Lubbock was the last,
the last
one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Visiting with Councilman Tim Green here in the studio this morning. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, had a good time.
Are you fairly certain impact fees stay at zero?
I think so. I think we've shown the way to do it.
Would you have to recuse?
Very likely on that.
As a builder.
As a builder.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Tim Green, good luck. When's the next council meeting?
It is Tuesday.
Very good. I hope you'll keep us updated. I know you're off to your next thing. So we'll be back on the other side of the break.
Wreck 'em.
Go Tech. Councilman Tim Green, thanks for being here. We'll be back.